Over the past month, 2 American children have died from measles. One of the most contagious viruses on Earth has found a gap in the armor of the American healthcare system. Today I'm going to discuss the state of RFK's response to this measles outbreak, as well as his stance on vaccines in general. Wait. If you love RFK, hate vaccines, please don't leave just yet. I'm not here to trash talk anybody, but I do want to have this really important conversation on a topic that has already claimed 2 American lives. Even if our beliefs conflict, we can still have a conversation. At the end of the day, it is so important to listen to opposing viewpoints, because that's how we make sure that our beliefs are based in fact and are useful to our mutual goals, the strength and health of America. I could quote science, and I will later, but first I want to ask you a question. If you think measles is not a big deal, what would it take to change your mind? What information would you need to hear, and from what source, that would convince you that measles is indeed bad news? Not having clear-cut triggers for what it would take to change your mind means that you will follow blindly. And that's what they want! Question everything, especially the politicians and experts that you believe in. There is nobody on this earth that deserves your completely blind loyalty. And yet, we live in a society. At a certain point, you have to put some level of trust in other people. Rome wasn't built in a day, but neither was it built by a single expert. Rome was built through the input and efforts of thousands of people, all working towards a common goal. So, how do we balance skepticism and trust? The short answer is, look at the quality of the evidence. Where is it coming from? Who is telling it to you? Might they have an alternate agenda? Might they be making money off of a lie? And if we can find a bunch of high quality evidence, chances are good that that is the truth. So I ask you again, what would it take to change your mind? Let me know in the comments. I'd like to tell you what it took for one person, Roald Dahl. Yes, author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and person with the most difficult to pronounce name, Roald Dahl. In 1962, his daughter Olivia caught measles. She was just 7 years old. And it started how you'd expect, with a fever and a rash, but it soon turned bad. She developed swelling in her brain, and she died shortly after. Years later, he wrote an open letter to the public, begging parents to get their children vaccinated. And I don't think that he was a shill for Big Pharma, mostly because I don't think shills had been invented yet. He said, "There is today something that parents can do to make sure such a tragedy does not happen to a child of theirs. It's to immunize against measles. I was unable to do that for Olivia in 1962 because in those days a reliable measles vaccine had not been discovered. Today, a good and safe vaccine is available to every family." The ironic thing is, the reason that we don't realize how bad measles is today is because of how effective the vaccine was back in the 60s. In a recent White House statement, RFK said that measles outbreaks happen every year and that it's not unusual. And yeah, he's right. Measles outbreaks are not unheard of. However, this year is a little bit different. In 2024, we had like 300 cases of measles. 2025, as of April, we have had over 600 cases. And we're still in the pregame. We're just starting the second quarter, and there's plenty of time for this to get worse. The last death from measles was in 2015, and this year we have had 2 deaths already. When I see RFK say that it's not unusual that we have these outbreaks every year, would I see someone who's downplaying the severity of this outbreak? And maybe he's doing it for a good reason. Maybe he's trying to minimize public panic while working on something in the background. Regardless, it doesn't strike me as someone who's being entirely truthful with the American people. On March 2nd, 2025, RFK released an op-ed to Fox News in which he discussed measles and the vaccine. He recommends getting the vaccine both for herd immunity and for the benefits to individual health. He then goes on to say that the decision to get vaccinated is a personal one. And while I agree that you have to be the one to decide to get vaccinated, I do wish that the Secretary of the Health and Human Services would pick a lane. Are vaccines the move, or are they not the move? This is part of his common strategy, hedging his bets, or what I like to call throwing spaghetti against the wall. If you throw 10 pots of spaghetti against the wall, and one single spaghetti sticks to the wall, you don't get to say, look, I was telling you the truth the whole time, this one stuck. Because there are so many things that fall through. When you don't commit to a single message, it's easy to say, yeah, I said this one all along. When in fact you are also saying the opposite. It is a great way to set yourself up for success. However, in government, I would like someone to be a little more consistent. Even if they make the wrong call, I know that they're acting from a place of integrity. The decision to get vaccinated is indeed a personal one, but it has broader effects than just on your own life. Contributing to a society by contributing to the health and herd immunity, which RFK does confirm is a thing, you are contributing to a strong and healthy America. It's a lot like voting. You can say that your single vote doesn't matter, and if you're the only person saying that your vote doesn't matter, it probably doesn't. But the problem comes into play when you have 50% of the population or 20% of the population saying that my vote doesn't matter. That's going to make a big difference in the outcome. And the same thing happens with vaccines. If we have half the population that is scared to take a vaccine and doesn't do it, our herd immunity decreases if we have any at all. So by contributing, by getting a vaccine, you are really helping to develop a strong and healthy country. Then he says that the best defense against measles is exercise and a healthy diet. And yeah, I agree to an extent. I have a little bit of trouble with the word best, but if you exercise and you have a healthy diet, you are really setting yourself up for immune success. You are making sure that you have a nice, healthy immune army. And then if you can rally the troops, let them know, hey, if you see this guy, shoot on sight, don't ask questions, you're going to have an even more effective fighting force. And that's all a vaccine is. Telling your body, you see this dude, don't talk to him, kill him immediately. You are the expert on yourself and your kids. And that's why I think it's really worth understanding what measles can do. I think most of the people brushing off the severity of measles are getting their information from biased sources. All I want is your kids to be safe from a fatal and preventable disease. There are too many stories of parents who think that their kids have a mild fever and a rash only to end up with brain swelling and or on a ventilator. And I know you would spend anything to save your child, but we can't overlook the monetary effect of these extended hospital stays. That messes with the financial well-being of these families. Now let's discuss vaccines in general. They are a widely debated component of public health. I mean, they work. The science says that they work. But lately there have been groups of people questioning their safety and the need. And I love that. You should question everything, including the establishment. That's the key behind the scientific method. But every system is made up of people. In a society as large as ours, it is really tempting to blame things on this unknown, unseen group of elites pulling strings from behind the scenes. But ultimately, science is made up of people. People like you. People who just want the best for their children, for their families, for their neighbors, for their community. And science is made up of people. Some people are willing to be bought off. Some people do things sloppily. Some people have baby soft egos and don't like to be challenged. And that's why we don't put all of our faith in a single study. No big changes in medicine come from a single landmark research paper. We wait until we have a large quantity of strong evidence before we make any big changes. And that's what sets science apart. Science has a question and then searches for the answer to that question in a systematic way. Grifters tell you that they have the answer, and then they try to sell it to you. RFK has said many times how skeptical he is of vaccines, and then he recommends the MMR vaccine on Fox News. To me, that level of inconsistency reads as someone who doesn't have the level of integrity that I want someone to have before I put the safety of myself and my family into their hands. And my question to you is, what if the risk of this disease is worse than you thought? What if it's worse than any potential risk or side effect from these vaccines? Look, I get it. You've been lied to before. We have all been lied to more times than I can count. But don't let that make you an easy target. So seriously, what would it take? Not for me, but for you. What evidence, what story, what truth would you need to see for you to change your view on this topic? Because if the answer is nothing, that's not skepticism. That's a mental lockdown with a thrown away key. Take care of yourselves, take care of your kids, take care of your family. And remember, if someone tells you to doubt everything except for them, please tread very, very lightly. Fun fact, YouTube doesn't have any real classification for medicine and science fact-checking. So, every time someone subscribes to my channel, we confuse the algorithm just a little bit more. If you want to join the fight against our robot overlords, hit that subscribe button. And if you loved or hated this video, let me know why in the comments. And check out this video on how RFK makes money selling doubt.